Hi, everybody. So our new social studies focus is how has our community changed over time? And Miss Kellogg introduced it yesterday. She did a read out loud with you. And then you guys also looked at some pictures of Cotati and how it had changed over time. And you did some noticing and some wonderings in that activity. Today we're specifically going to be looking at farming. So you will need this packet that was given to you at the last supply pickup. You will also need a marker or a highlighter, or a pencil would work as well. Whatever you have to underline things. If you do not have this packet, and then I have also placed a copy in this seesaw activity. So you will have to open it up in a different window while you're listening to this video, okay? So how has farming changed over the years? You have traveled back in time to interview farmers from the past. As you read their words, underline the tools that they use to do their jobs. So that is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to underline the tools that they used. Be ready to explain how farming has changed over time. So that's really our objective after we read this is we need to investigate how has farming changed over time since the 1800s. Let's go to the first page here. It looks like this, and we're going to be reading this first one. It says farming in the mid-1800s. Okay, that's where we're at. Did you know that 90% of all Americans live and work on farms here in the 1800s? Wow, 90% of the people worked on farms and lived on farms. That is a lot. But it sure isn't an easy life. There is a lot of hard work to do, and we have simple tools to help us do it. So they created tools to help them make farming easier on them. We use a scythe to cut wheat. It is a sharp tool with a curved blade that we have to swing at stalks to break up the soil. So here is the scythe right here, and you can see this really sharp blade right here. So I'm going to underline scythe, and I want you guys to as well. The first tool that we learned about. Farming in the mid-1800s. So we're continuing on. To get ready for planting, we have to use a cultivator that is pulled by a horse. Ooh, there's another tool. Cultivator. And so this cultivator is actually down here. There's a picture down here of a cultivator. And the cultivator, you can't really see it, but it's being pulled by the horse. And there's a strap that's attached to the horse. It wraps around the person's neck and arm, so underneath their armpit, and then goes back to the other side of the horse. And it pulls this machine called a cultivator. And this is what it does. To separate the grains from their husks, we have to use a flail made of all two sticks on a chain. So the other one is a flail. It takes 300 hours to produce 100 bushels of wheat. 300 hours. Can you imagine? That's a really long time to only get 100 bushels of wheat. As you can imagine, it is very easy to get hurt using these tools, right? They're sharp and they're heavy. Right? There's a lot of labor that goes along with it. So that's one of the problems that they faced, right? That they were getting hurt using these tools. All right. On to the early 1900s. So there's a picture of two horses. This is where I'm at. Farming is a tough job. But life on the farm has gotten easier since the 1800s. Okay, so now that time has passed, new inventions have come about, new tools for the farmers to use. Let's find out which kind. We now have a combine, which is a machine that cuts the thrashes crops at the same time. So now they've created this machine that cuts the thrashes on the crops. Right? So it makes it even easier. So I am going to underline combine. We don't have to use a scythe to cut the wheat and then a flail to separate the grains from the husk. So they don't have to use those anymore because now they have this machine that does it for them. All right, let's move on. We do have to cut crops by hand. The reaper is the machine that can cut better than a scythe. So now they've created this thing called the reaper. And that is a very sharp tool down here. Do you guys see that? Whew. So there would be a guy right here, standing right here, and he would be holding on to it while the horses would pull him. So there would be horses over here pulling it. So a reaper is the other tool. I think I read this already, but I'm going to read it again. We can save a lot of time harvesting with the reaper. I think I did. We can also use a steel plow to cut through the thick roots. So they didn't highlight this one in dark, but a steel plow is the other tool. So make sure you underline that one as well. Okay. So 3 new tools. And now we're into farming today in the early 1900s to today, okay? Today, we farmers have it a lot easier than farmers from the past. We have high-powered tractors and machines to milk our cows. So not only do they have these high-powered tractors, but they also have machines. I'm going to underline that too, that milk cows. We can use airplanes to spread fertilizer and pesticide on our crops. So they utilize airplanes as well. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Sometimes you'll see it when you're driving out in Cotati or Santa Rosa, Petaluma too, that sometimes you'll see an airplane and it's dumping stuff out of it, right? And that's actually fertilizer and pesticide to help keep the plants healthy. We can even plant our crops using computers. So not only do they have all these other really cool things like high-powered tractors and machines to milk cows and airplanes, but they also are using computers to help them plant crops. Pretty cool. So there's 3 more, right? Or 4 more. Farming in the early 1900s. Our farmers are much bigger now because we can harvest much faster. So back in the 1800s, the farms were a little bit smaller pieces of land, right? Because you couldn't farm big farmland because there wasn't enough labor to do it, not enough people to do it. So, but now that we have all these machines doing it, farmers are buying bigger parcels of land. It only takes 4 hours to produce 100 bushels of wheat. Do you guys remember how many bushels of wheat it took them in 1800? You guys remember? I'm gonna look back. I remember. 300 hours. Now it only takes them 4 hours to do it. But look at this. Only 2% of Americans live on farms today, but farmers are very important to our country. So back in the 1800s, they said 90% of the people were farmers and lived on farms. Now only 2% of Americans do this for our country, and they have a very important job because they are bringing food to our table, right? Very important job. They're feeding us. Okay, so we are done with that. Now, you guys know about farming. You guys are going to do this activity independently, and you're going to use your packet to help you, okay? So I'm going to explain it, and then I'll let you guys do it on your own. The first thing you're going to do is, what tools did farmers use in each era? So first you're going to go back to the pages that we talked about, the 1800s. And we talked about different tools that we used, and we underlined them. So then all you have to do is write them here. And then you're going to do the 1900s. So you go to this page, and you will write those here. And today, what kind of tools do we use today? And you will write them here. I also talked about what some problems were that farmers faced in the 1800s. Maybe you remember what that problem was. If not, maybe you need to read the packet again and go to the 1800s and see what was that problem that they faced. And then here is the last thing you need to do. How did technology help farmers become more efficient? And efficient means working in a way that does not waste time or effort. So what are we doing now that's helping, what's that technology that's helping them become more efficient? And you're going to list 2 ways that is helping farmers become more efficient. They have more time, not wasting any more time. All right, guys, that is it. And we will see you next time. If you need help or have questions, make sure you come to the help group. And also, the secret password for watching this lesson is apples.